Melachim Bet, chapter 7, perek Zayin, we saw that the king of Israel saw such a terrible famine that he decided he would try and kill Elisha. He comes to Elisha's house, and Elisha's sitting with the elders, and he closes the door, he locks the door, and he promises the king that the next day there will be tons and tons of food, so much so that you will be able to buy a se'ah of flour for just 1 shekel and 2 se'ah of rye for also a shekel in Shomron. So, of barley. So the after he makes that promise, the person who's walking with the king, the assistant, the attaché of the king, starts laughing. He says, that's crazy. He says, even if God opens the skies and it's going to rain like never before, still it's not possible to have that amount of food within 24 hours. And so he gets another dig from Elisha, and Elisha tells him, listen, I promise you, not only will this prophecy happen, but you'll be able to see it with your own eyes, but you will not live to see the eating of all this food. So he says, Hincha ro'eh be'einecha, you will see with your own eyes, however, v'shama lo tochel, you will not be able to eat and benefit from the fruits of this miracle. And we come to the next the next part of this perek, Arba'a Mitzoraim Yoshvim Petach Hashar, which incidentally, you can understand why, by the way, is the Haftorah for Parshat Mitzorah. 4 of the Mitzoraim, 4 lepers were sitting outside the gates of the city. And they say to each other, look, we're about to die anyways. There's starvation inside of the city, and we're doomed. We have tzarat, and we're basically doomed. So they say we might as well go to the camp of Aram, who are the enemies who are putting siege to the city, and we'll turn ourselves in. We'll defect. We'll go to their camp, and we'll be like, hey, can you take us? And that way, at least we won't starve to death. So they go at night to go to the Machane Aram, to the camp of Aram, and they don't see anybody. Why? Because Aram hear them coming down. You ever hear someone walking down a hill and there's like rocks tumbling down, even from one person? Aram heard this just from the few people walking, 4 lepers walking down. Aram hear it, the guard hears it, and it multiplied it, and Hashem made them hear as if the entire Israelite army is coming for a surprise attack on them. And they say, oh my God, here the king of Israel hired the kings of Egypt and all the Chittim and all the people inside Israel to come and fight with us. We're doomed. And they get up and they run away. So bad is their escape that they leave everything behind. They leave their food. They leave their tents, their clothing, their everything. They just run and they leave everything. Meanwhile, the lepers come, including Gehazi, they come, and by the way, that's a midrash that it's him. I don't want to confuse anything, but it doesn't say explicitly that it's him. The 4 Mitzoraim, they come to the camp and they see the barbecue still burning. And I don't know if they had hot dogs and marshmallows, but it's still right there. The camp of Aram is fully functioning. The tents are up, the fires are burning, and it's empty. The Aram ran away in such a chaos that they just left everything behind. So first they're like, why don't we steal something? It's like, they're going to take a little bit here, a little bit there. They take a little of this, a little of that. But then they're like, wait, nobody's here. Why don't we go back to the city of Shomron and tell the people we are going to sin to God if we just sit here all night eating the food that's here and partying by ourselves without letting the people in the city know that the siege is over. And so they go, and after they took a little bit for themselves and hid a little bit in the fields near the camp, they go and they knock on the doors of the city and they say, guys, there's nobody there. There's nobody left in Aram, and the horses are still sniffing, and it's just still so fresh. And the king says, oh gosh, they must have set a trap for us. And it must be a trap for us. And so the king says, let's send someone to go see. And they go send someone to see. And indeed, there is nobody in the camp of Aram. So the Jews were able to take all of the spoils of the camp of Aram, all the food that was there. And remember what the prophet of God said yesterday, in 24 hours you'll be able to buy flour for cheap. Well, that is exactly what happened. And the hater, the one that worked with the king of Israel, who said, there's no way this can happen, I don't believe it, he didn't believe in the miracle of Hashem. Well, unfortunately, when everyone was coming out of the city to take food and spoils from the camp of Aram, he died in the stampede, as the prophet has told him the day before. You're going to see it, but you're not going to actually be able to benefit from it. And that is what we see in chapter 7. Stay tuned for perek chet. Thank you for listening.